Hello and welcome everyone to the second Crimson Crucible. I'm Piotr and I'm with Amit and our special guest Atey Ghailan. So,
Hello.
hi there. How are you guys?
Hey guys,
Hey.
how's it going? Thanks for joining us again for the second Crucible. Sorry, it's a little bit early for me, so I'm gonna stumble through this. Um, we're really excited to have Atey here with us. I remember meeting Atey just ages ago, briefly for a study session, I think once online through Crimson Daggers. So he was on the forum for a little bit, and now he's a really successful artist. He's working at a big games company. I think it's Riot Games now, and he has over 10,000 followers on ArtStation, at least 15,000 on DeviantArt, and does the most killer simplified color work and sketches, and it's really exciting to have him on board. And on a personal note, when I heard Atey's story that he was self-taught, it really kind of inspired me. It gave me hope to realize that actually I could do it while working too. So yeah, thanks Atey.
Yeah.
Thanks for having. I'm pretty excited.
You're-
There was some really cool entries. And Bloodborne is like I'm a Bloodborne addict, so
Yeah, we got a little sense of that. There's some of those Bloodborne pieces creep into your sketches every so
Yeah.
often.
yeah.
So that's cool. So you're because you're self-taught, and a lot of people watching are also going that route.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us just a brief idea of how you did it?
I think probably like the most important thing is like get in a routine, and keep challenging yourself to keep improving. Like I like to think of it as going to the gym. Like you can't keep doing the same exercise over and over. You have to keep increasing the difficulty just to keep gaining muscle and just keep improving as an artist. And I think being just very honest with yourself, like where your flaws is, and just like deal with that. I think that's gonna help you move forward.
So I mean, you're probably one of the most consistent artists I know. At least in terms of posting updates.
Yeah.
And doing daily stuff. It's really funny. Your daily sketches, when you started that, after a few months, I saw so many people doing the same thing. With the number of days /365 and a daily sketch. So you really kind of inspired this movement. So, you were working a day job at the same time. So how do you actually stay consistent when you're exhausted and you get home? Was it sort of inbuilt motivation that you had, or you forced yourself?
When I got my first job?
No, I think you were studying while you were doing a job that was not art related.
Yeah, that's true. I was working. It was basically an internship in a commercial agency in Stockholm.
Okay.
And it really had nothing to do with art. Like I'd rarely get to do some storyboarding or illustration, but at the time I knew I wanted to make a painting, living off painting. But like when you come home from work, you're just so exhausted. But I just decided, I'm gonna paint 8 or 7 hours a day, regardless of how exhausted I am. And I just kept that up every day, because it's really difficult once you have a full-time job. It's very easy to just sit on the couch and just relax. But I wanted to get a job pretty quickly, and I just felt like I just have to go through, just push through it and just keep at it regularly, and eventually it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar phase as well, and yeah. It's not easy, but it does get better. It does get better.
I just think you need to set set amount of hours that you should just try keep it realistic to what you actually can do. If it's an hour, it's an hour, but just decide on something to just keep it to that at least.
Yeah, and being consistent, I guess, whatever time you have.
Yep.
So, was there any point when you came close to giving it up, like it was too hard?
I got burned out pretty hard at one point. I think it was like my first year of painting. I think that's a mistake a lot of people do when they're just starting out. You know, they either get like carpal tunnel or just get burned out pretty hard.
Right.
And I think I had to, because I was doing a lot of things at the same time, and I just got burned out really hard. I had to eat soup for a whole month because I couldn't like digest anything else properly.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Shit.
But at that point, it was like, because you know, when you're just starting out, like you know what you want to paint, but you lack so much information that it's very frustrating rather than enjoyable. But I think once you get over that first hole in the beginning, it becomes much more motivating to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I did the same. I was getting maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night for, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, and I realized at one point, that's when I stopped doing it, was I would be able to, and then I would basically sleep for an entire week and sleep through work and things like that. It wasn't really good. So you can push it, but it'll come back to bite you, I guess. So if you were going to look back in hindsight, like, what's the one thing you would pick that you would do differently if you could? Not that we can, but if you could.
I would probably like try to balance things. I still have issues with balance. Like I tunnel vision pretty hard on things. So I wish I would have gotten into the habit of just balancing things out more. Like I try to exercise, but I often just end up painting. So I still struggle with that. But hopefully in the future I'll get it. So but I think definitely balance is important when doing anything, not just art.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, so I'm just going to pop a couple of links in the chat. Atey has a DeviantArt where you can follow him if you don't already know his stuff, which you should, because you're missing out. And he also has a Patreon. Yeah, there's an art station as well. It's all under. Okay, it's all under Snatty, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've got a question, because your when you first started, for example, I think Galaxy Saga, your style of painting was way different than it is now, and I would like to know what made you change that style. Was it like you got inspired by something, or it was a conscious decision, or something that just came naturally?
I think I always loved animation. Like I've always watched it since I was a kid, but I kind of got into I don't know if it was like outside influence or anything, but like I kind of just wanted to paint like these realistic stuff as much as possible when I was doing the Galaxy Saga stuff. But at one point I kind of like just got out of the closet, you know, like, and admit I love animation, I love anime, and I'm just gonna like, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of was afraid to admit it, I guess, or whatever.
It's funny because a lot of people will, you know, if they come on Crimson Daggers, and they'll start their first post by saying, "Oh, I used to do anime," and be embarrassed about it, and then go on. Yeah. And there's so much good stuff in anime. I understand, because like when you're on DeviantArt, there's huge amounts of really terrible.
There's a lot of. I just think like with animation, like to me, like the older I get, the more I just get more drawn towards like animated films than like live action, because you can like get stuff so much better across when you can make everything, like whether it's 3D or 2D animation. It's just mood, and it's just, to me, it's just much more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find a similar thing with but the thing with live action and I mean, we've got so much power with 3D and effects nowadays, but I don't see a lot of stylized stuff. It's all like realistic, and I think maybe that's where that stuff kind of falls flat a bit.
And it gets dated. Sorry.
No, go for it.
It gets dated pretty quick, but if you look at an animation from I don't know, have you guys seen Akira?
Yeah.
That's from what, 1988, and it still looks fucking amazing,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. It does. I mean, you can tell a little bit, but it doesn't seem to matter because it's not all about the effects.
No.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, so all you anime lovers out there, just, don't worry, just love.
Love. Come out of the closet.
Yeah.
We're here for you, don't worry.
So I have another question, because I'm interested if you use a lot of reference for your paintings, or is it just from your head? Because you paint a lot of quite different environments and interiors. Is it just from your imagination, or do you have something to base that on?
It depends. First off, I work as an environment artist, so it's really I do basically all I do at Riot is just environment work.
Mm-hmm.
But for the personal stuff, sometimes I have a bit of reference, if I'm unsure of how to do something, or I see an interesting light setup that I want to try in a different way. Other times I just go without. It really depends on my confidence with the subject matter and the image that I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do you use 3D?
No.
Right.
Okay. Do you use line art for study sketches, or just because I asked that you in your recent live stream, you said that you did the last painting with just colors, values, without the line art. So do you prefer to actually do those large shapes of values, colors, rather than line art?
I love line drawing. The issue is with these daily sketches, I have literally every day I can spend 2 hours on them.
Yeah.
I just need to get as much information across as quick as I can. And by just jumping in with color, I can just get much more across quicker, versus if I had to do line drawing. But if I have the time, I'd definitely like to do line drawings. I love it, but I just lack of time.
So you do line art studies?
I do, for work, I do a lot of line drawing stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so one last question before we get to the announcement of the winners. Oh shit, I totally forgot. I see, this is the problem. I've had to drink tea instead of coffee, and I'm not a tea person.
Oh.
So. Oh yeah, no, that's it. That's what I wanted. So I wanted to ask you about your Path of Miranda. Now, I know that you're planning on working on. I guess it's an animation, an actual movie, or is it just going to be like a comic? But I know that you're working on it. Would you like to tell us anything about it now?
Yeah.
Where you're going for it?
Well, basically, the end goal is to make it into a motion graphic novel, if that even exists, a term, kind of like a graphic novel, but with animation.
Awesome.
So
nothing.
You turn the page and the characters move, or what?
Maybe
like HTML5 stuff.
So
you see animated motion comics.
Something like
that.
Dave Raposa did recently for the Starvale.
Something like that, but I think a bit more simplified. Maybe panning around. Like for like action scenes, I would like do more intensive animation scenes, but otherwise it's pretty static, and you have like camera panning around just to make it feel more alive. And I want like voice actors as well for it. So
I could be the one.
But it's
What, for
currently the
for the penguin maybe.
you
Go for it.
for the penguin. Currently, like what I want to do is I'm trying to pitch the project to myself. Like I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm trying to figure out like different locations, different characters, different part of the story. I'm just trying to create like these sketches to try and sell it to myself. And I think at one point I'm going to like sit down and review all that I have and take a look at, on how to move on to more serious step onto like putting into full production. And I'm probably going to need to hire someone to help me out with it. That's why I run the Patreon as well, because it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, it's so great to see any artist kind of working on their own, realized project and going towards it. And I think seeing how consistent you are and how sort of dedicated you are, I think you're going to smash it out of the park.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
Yeah, good. Really looking forward to seeing it.
Hopefully,
it's like Miyazaki came back. You just need to make the story good. That's all.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay, cool. So why don't we just get to announcing the winners for this month's challenge?
Yeah. Okay.
And Atey, you can do the honors. So we can start first off with. So this time again we had first, second, and third places. So Atey, why don't you start with third place?
Okay. Do I screen share or how do is it on Twitter?
I will have it. Okay, I can show, I guess. We basically had to roll a dice because we didn't know which piece to choose, so it's completely random.
Yes.
That's his dark Polish wit not coming through.
So yeah, like both of these pieces, I think, like the top one, it has very appealing light, but we all kind of agreed like the scene lacked a bit of detail, and like the bottom scene it has much more detail and stuff, but the lighting isn't quite there. So what the other image has in strength, the other one has in weakness, and vice versa. But I think both of them deserve a shared third spot.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if young Daniel, who did the first one, the top one, is here, but as we were talking before with Atey, in the brief there was. I mean, you could include some more details in the background, like columns, statues, because it's underground. So, yeah. But otherwise, the lighting is really nice, and when you zoom it out, it's reads pretty well. So, yeah. And as for Hobbit, as Atey said, a lot of details, and they were executed quite well, in my opinion. Although the characters are, I mean, Atey probably would be better saying about the active movement of a human figure, because I suck at anatomy and this stuff, but you could surely improve a little in this area. And the lighting, I would love to see some rays of light coming from that side. So yeah, that's a little from me.
And it kind of like in the bottom one also, the hunter doesn't feel like a powerful force, which I think it feels like there's something on the side. Like I think you need to overemphasize it, and especially like he has a hammer, so like this guy is about to kick some ass, and it doesn't really feel like it at the moment.
Yeah.
So
It's a bit hard to read. He's a bit lost in the detail. If you zoom it out, you can barely see him.
yeah.
So yeah.
And we have also the pillar in the middle. It's almost like cutting the image into two separate images, which you probably could have like cut rid of the pillar.
Yeah, I remember giving. I think I gave some feedback to cut that pillar. Like it's broken. You know, the one on the right is broken, so I suggested maybe cut that middle pillar, and have the other one whole.
Yeah.
One other thing about the Hobbits one on the bottom is those. Could you zoom in a little bit on it, please? The statues on the right, I know that they're statues because I saw all the design work that went into it. So there's like hand grasping statues, and he did all this really great design work setting the scene, but it just didn't translate. I don't think it looks like almost like a tree or some bush, or it doesn't look like it's going into the distance that much as well. So there are some issues there when you do your design work, which is really cool. To see it translated into your final in a clear way is also quite important. So, but in general, I really like the piece.
Yeah.
It definitely did have this sort of Bloodborne feel to it. So
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, with the one at the top, I can't really add much to it because just more sort of design, visual interest in statues and a bit more Bloodborne-y. But yeah, really nice lighting.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well done, guys. Congrats.
Yeah, we can
So,
move to the...
Atey, would you like to... Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to announce the second place?
Okay. I forgot the name of the person who did it. You have the...
Sebastian Kaczorowski, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so this one, like, the light is really awesome in this one. It's really cool. But something to like when I don't know if you probably, I don't know if you played Bloodborne or not, but they always have like a lot of visual interest in their scenes. Like they have, like if you like, they have like all over the place like these big coffins, which you can use an image like this and just fill up the space. Because as a game, it's very dense, and the coffins add a lot to the story, because a lot of people are dying because of the disease. So that would help sell the story aspect of this one. But I think the light is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely great, and all of his thumbnails had very good lighting. And I actually went to his ArtStation site, and yeah, he all of his work has amazing lighting. Although you could, Sebastian, probably add some more details to some of your works, because they are very simplified, but I think what they lack are some details in the right spot. Also, there's not that much design on the Henry. I guess you could see his hand changed, and there are some, like, I'm not sure, the feather-like things coming from him, but you could probably work a little more on the design, I guess, and add a little detail to the background. So yeah, but I absolutely love the lighting. It's awesome, and the colors are great as well. Okay, Amit, do you want to add something?
It's nice going third because everyone says everything and I get to just zone out.
Yeah, okay, so...
No, I do want to say it's probably the same thing. I think adding more of the design elements from Bloodborne would really have helped to sell it as a Bloodborne piece, because just looking at it, I don't really necessarily feel it is. I know it is, but I don't feel it is. So that's probably the biggest.
Yeah, probably the only reason why it didn't win, because rendering-wise, it's absolutely the best work in this contest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The other thing I'd like, the other thing I'd like to say is narrative. So as for Keyframe, I think narrative is really important because you're trying to get across a key moment, and this is a key moment, I guess. He's seeing the stature of him when he was normal, I guess. So it's pretty good, but it could be a little ambiguous. I don't know. So yeah, I'm not sure. Atey, would you like to say anything? Because your images are full of narrative. Like you can see stories within them. How would you?
Well, if in this case, like, because as Henry the Raven, he was supposed to like protect the villages, something to like overemphasize that eventually he turned into a beast, or he lost control of himself. Like maybe you could have had some dead people laying on the ground, like civilians that you can tell obviously he killed them.
Right.
And then I think that would help a lot to sell the story, because you can feel like he's a bit of an agony in his hand. Maybe he's just losing control. And with adding just some victims, it would just overemphasize it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, definitely add things that show what might have happened in the past, or the results of actions that were taken in the past. That's always a good thing to add narrative. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so well done, Sebastian. That's some stellar work. Loved it all. Okay, and
the first prize.
Now the first place for CC2 goes to
Cracked Skull. Congrats.
Woo!
Okay, Atey.
I wish there was. It seems like such an anticlimax when you announce these. I kind of wish there was like cheers or something. But yeah, Cracked Skull. So yeah, do you have anything to say, Atey?
This was just like, you can tell this is Bloodborne. Like it's just so cool, It has a lot of story aspect as well. Like when I look at this, I can totally tell like basically a hunter that lost control over his body and mutated into a beast, and now he's just killing the villagers who he's supposed to protect. Probably the biggest critique I have on this is one of your thumbnails. It had a really awesome angle where we're kind of looking up at it, and that just made it so much more dramatic. And I think it would have just made it that much stronger if you would have gone with that thumbnail. Because now when we're looking at it, it's like just straight on. But the other one, when we're looking up at it, it just felt like more superior, and you just wanted to run away when you saw it.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So yeah, my issue with this would be that the lighting is a bit inconsistent. I mean, this place is a little too dark because you have a torch here, and it's lightened here, but I mean lit. Sorry. But you have no speculars on his arm, which is strange for me. But yeah, otherwise, it has a really nice feel. And although I didn't play Bloodborne, it really looks like something from that game, I guess. Okay, Amit. Are you there?
Yep. So I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm here. I'm just gonna go in a bit closer on the image to have a look. Yeah. So I mean, the guys pretty much covered it. Yeah, I think. Oh, what would I say? I'm at a loss for words.
Okay. I guess
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to figure out what.
It's a good image.
I think. Oh, sorry. I think
you got
definitely the. Ooh, what's going on?
I think there's a bit of delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely agree with Atey that the sort of point of view change probably was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it and there is something a little bit funny about the perspective in the background that to me makes it doesn't quite fit. And so I think you kind of went too far and didn't go back and look at your stuff. I mean, one of the things that I do a lot is if I do a sketch and I really like the sketch or the thumbnail, I'll always keep it near me. So as I'm working on a piece, I can look at it, and just to make sure that I'm not going too far off. So that's something that you might want to consider. Also, in terms of scale, the scale of the little guy in the hand, without the torch, is probably too small given the scale of the others. So there's a it's kind of breaking that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think, and there's probably some perspective stuff in the ground, but I like the fact that you captured this sort of key moment, and this beast is like totally Bloodborne, and the mood, the palette is all really good. So yeah, that's why it won. It basically nailed all the elements of the brief. It was probably the only one that nailed all of the elements in the brief.
Some of you didn't do your work according to the brief completely. I mean, not completely, but you omitted some of the elements that were in the brief. So that's a thing you should really be careful about.
Okay. Yeah, especially like when you do work, like if the brief specify that there needs to be 4 pillars in an area, you kind of got to keep that, because that probably has something to do with the story or gameplay aspect that you got to keep in mind.
Yeah. I for some reason I always get reminded of school when I was young, and my math teacher would tell. No, I love school. My math teacher would tell me, or tell all of us, when you go to the exam, read the question twice before you start to write an answer.
Yeah.
Like read, make sure you understand it, take some time, get the question down so you know that what the solution is you're trying to solve. And it's the same thing. Read everything really carefully, because you'll often get like these really briefs, from clients, and 1 or 2 words for them might be a big part of what they're envisaging. So, and if you don't understand certain things or you want clarification, always come back and clarify. So don't just run straight in without thinking. So that's I guess how I would say that. Okay, cool. I think, great job. The turnout wasn't as high this time around, but 3 weeks, we're trying out the 3-week thing, and we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, one thing, because it looked like some of you focused too long on the studies and sketches, and in the end some of you didn't have enough time to finish the actual image. So it's a thing to think about for the next challenge, to manage your time a little better.
Yeah, actually, I'll ask Atey, for your own work. Do you tend to, and I know this changes over time, but do you tend to, if you're working on a full-blown illustration, do a lot of design work prior to it, or do you do it as you go?
Whenever I try to do like more complicated images, I try to solve as much problem as I can beforehand. So when you get into the painting process, you just jump into it. You don't get like stuck on anything, so you can just like kind of go through it pretty quick.
Right.
Because before, whenever I tried to do like, I learned it mainly during the Aplibot phase. Like just try to have a solid idea so you can just render it, rather than trying to solve problems and render at the same time, because you just want to like tear your hair out.
Yeah, I have that problem a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you were going to put, this is a stupid question, but if you were going to put a percentage on the amount of time you spend doing comps and design work and stuff compared to the going into the final, would you say the emphasis, like where does the emphasis lie?
It depends. Like sometimes it would go like maybe 30-40% spending time on like just solving all the problems before the actual render stage. Maybe getting proper lighting or anything. That's like with more time-consuming images, but I'd say as much time as you need to avoid like getting stuck later on. Obviously, you can't solve everything, but as much as you can beforehand. just to make your life much easier.
So may I ask?
Yeah, but
Okay, go ahead.
So one of the things I want to add to that is that's totally the case, and I see a lot of people doing that in the forums, but also you have to be able to make decisions and move on once you've done the work. So all the solving problem stages is there not just to noodle around and have fun, but you're actually driving towards a goal, especially if it's like a final illustration. And when you're under a deadline, you kind of have to start to map all that out. And I felt that a lot of people did so much design work, but then skimped on the composition and those solving those things that really mattered. And a lot of people didn't have time at the end, which you guys had 3 weeks this time, not 2. So I know you're all doing other stuff, but you have to be disciplined and efficient to get to the end.
I think time management is really key. It's something like when you're going to work full time, you really have to be able to manage your time. You can't when an employer requests something, you can't when the deadline comes up. Oh, by the way, I'm not done yet. Because often when someone gives you a deadline, it's because when you turn in your stuff, it's going to move down in the pipeline. Maybe it's going to go down to the 3D artist who's going to have to build it, or So
yeah,
it's always good.
I wanted to ask if you can tell how your workflow, your time management and work management for the Riot games looks like. If you can share.
I work.
What?
Sorry, the sound was cutting out.
I was asking if you could share with us how you manage your time and workflow for the Riot games. Like how do you proceed with your paintings? How many of them do you do in a week, or how it generally looks? If you can tell, of course.
I can share as much as I dare to share, but it's there is basically there is certain things that needs to be done by a certain amount of time. They don't really give specific deadlines, but I try to solve things as fast as I can, so things can keep moving.
Yeah.
And even if you're not done, you keep sharing updates with the team, so people know where you're at least.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, so let's just open up. Really, Atey, do you have a little bit of time for questions from the?
Yeah, sure.
The chat. Okay. So if anyone wants to ask questions, sorry, we should have mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Wants to ask questions in the chat, please put it in now. We'll wait a couple of minutes, and then I think we'll end the stream. So, yeah, well done to all the winners. It's still really great to see the amount of work that was put in for the people who did finish and kept it going, and hopefully. It's helped you guys to learn a little bit more. And
there's a lot of entries. Really cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's I think 17 of them, which is great because before we started the Crucible, weekly challenges would get 1 or 2. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, Atey, did you actually see or even join the Bloodsports?
No, I you mean in the past?
Yeah. That one organized by Dave and Dan.
No, I looked at it, but I don't think I had the balls to join it.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just really afraid to post stuff. It took me a long time before I even started posting on the forum. So I was just a scaredy cat.
Yeah. So
because I don't know.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, your stuff was good back then.
I was just afraid, someone would beat you up if you post something bad or something. But that's really not the case.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good lesson to get over. Just open yourself up to the beating, and
Yeah.
generally it doesn't really come.
Yeah, it helps
Yeah.
to know what your
Actually-
mistakes are.
Actually, what's the most brutal critique that you've got from someone? And I don't mean like brutal constructive, not like just totally ripping you to bits. Was there any moment you realized?
I got a lot of like I don't remember anyone in particular, but I got a lot of because I used to post on concept art a lot, and there was a lot of good critiques that I got. And I also used to like read what other people were posting and the critique they were getting. So you kind of like, just because you haven't made that mistake yet, that doesn't mean you're gonna make it in the future. So just seeing what
Yeah.
other people make, where their successes, where their struggle is, and just kind of learn from that as well. I just think the forum experience overall was like, it really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. There is something about forums that offer so much more than like the Facebook quick post, like
Yeah.
two sentence critique, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everyone is kind of going in that direction, but
Yeah.
we're trying to bring it back a little bit here.
Yeah. I think the forum is just priceless for people who don't have access to like education or anything. Like, it's just
Mm-hmm.
learning with other people. I think it's pretty important.
So yeah.
Okay, so there are no questions. So, yeah. So what's ahead for you? You're obviously still got your job and you're working on Miranda, and that's pretty much it for in terms of the art.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to also just keep. I'd like to one point like just make it maybe, hopefully maybe someday into an animated film. We'll see about that, but
Uh-huh.
maybe one day.
Okay, awesome. Hey, you guys heard it first here. The Atey Ghailan directed and produced Path of Miranda movie.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
Good luck.
hopefully we
Good
get
luck.
to see that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. So yeah, I think we're done.
Let's wrap it up, I guess. Okay, so
Okay, so thanks
yeah.
Thanks everyone for
And
coming.
thanks, Atey,
And
for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
yeah, thanks a
Okay.
lot. And yeah, no announcements for CC3 because we're mysterious. Actually, no, we haven't got our shit together. But
Okay.
we'll have some coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. See you all. Goodbye.
Bye.